Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially you, Bobby Skullface, this is T2RX6 with a new opening just to throw you off just a little. But don't worry, we're still looking at some third-party toys, and today we're taking a look at the Unique Toys Mania King. I got this one sent over to me by my good friend Greg for Mercy. I got a good price off it, he hooked me up. And yeah, this is Mania King. And last week we looked at the Unique Toys Sharky. And, you know, they were surprisingly good. And I gotta say, spoiler alert, this guy is too. Unique Toys has really stepped up their game. Let's take a look at the packaging real quick. Very, very nice box with the foam cutout to actually put the toy in and, yeah, hold him in position so he doesn't roll around. I really like that. Very nice, Unique Toys. And they've definitely stepped up their game. So much so that I've already ordered their sound mixer slash blaster guy. So let's actually look at the Mania King slash Galvatron right here. And here he is in his robot mode. He comes packaged this way. So I figured we might as well start him this way and get him to transform to his cannon. Because, you know, why not? We want to see how he transforms from what he's packaged, right? So this is Mania King. He is pretty good. The only things that I dislike a little bit are, I don't mind the white on here, but the white on the cannon I think has to go. I think I'm going to keep the gold, but anything that's not gold I'm going to give a nice orange paint job to once I get a little bit of a chance. Outside of that, the only other big flaw I see with him, he has no articulation on his wrist. You have to use his upper arm here. He does have a semi-articulated hand there, and because he has no wrist articulation, when you turn his elbows like this, you can't do anything, so he looks like he's trying to lift something, or as some people say, he's got the gorilla arms. But ultimately, I don't really find that to be that big of a deal. I think he just stands here looking menacing, and I think that looks good. One of my favorite things to do is to stick him on a shelf, you know, doing the elbow up. You do have a tiny bit of articulation on the wrist, so push that all the way up, kind of like this. And we raise his one arm like so. Maybe give him a little bit of a stance here, and kind of point his head down and looking over. And really, that's the only stance you really need out of a Galvatron. He's ready to blast someone. Maybe Starscream, who's sitting in his place. I don't know. But to me, that looks really good. And, yeah, I kind of forget all about the fact that his arms can't move. So while we're looking at his articulation here, and you can see his blaster here is in two pieces, just kind of plugs in together. That was my fault for banging it against my arm there. But let's take a look at his articulation here, and let's pull this off just to make it a little easier. His head is on a ball joint, so a nice expressive range of motion here. And let's actually look at his head real quick before I forget about it. Just a quick zoom in here. Very nice Galvatron. The pictures online, I didn't care for it very much, but in person, I think it looks pretty awesome. Especially when you put him up next to something like the Fans Project Rodimus. But anyway, back to his articulation. So you get the full 180 or 360 here. Yeah, 180. Need to go back to school apparently. You do have a ratcheted rotation here, so he is very solid and will hold himself up by his joints, provided that they're not swiveling around. As you saw, he does have a swivel up here and a pretty good motion on the elbow, and just a tiny bit of wrist articulation here. Moving on down, we have a waist which is ratcheted. Actually, I guess it's kind of more like he's moving his abs. We don't get the full waist, but that's okay. Coming down a little bit lower, the side skirts do move, which allow you to get probably his most limited range of motion is on his legs here. You can see you can't really go further back because of the back plate. It would have been nice if these were on some kind of swivel, but I think ultimately because of transformation that stops us. And you can swivel up his front skirt armor to get a full front, and then you have the 90 degrees here. Now this looks like it should be ratcheted, but it doesn't do any ratcheting, but the friction is tight on it. I don't see it being a problem at all. You do have a thigh swivel, you have a nice knee, the pad is separate, so if you want to put him in a pose you can drop the pad down, and that just hides that big gappy knee joint basically. Even from the side it does a pretty decent job hiding things, so that's good. You do have a knee swivel, and then you come down to these wonderfully articulated feet. Whether you want to flip it out here, which looks a little bit silly but does maybe do something for you for certain poses, especially when you're trying to lean them all the way sideways or something. But the foot is on a ball joint, so you get a wonderful range of motion out there as well as a complete tilt. So yeah, this guy is capable of standing really, really nicely. So yeah, that's Galvatron here. Let's kind of get him standing a bit more normal here so we can actually do some comparisons. Again, as you can see, we only kind of have those AP arms, which they're going to be a downside to some, but frankly I think that they're very, very overlookable considering the rest of the qualities of this guy. And we'll take this and we'll plug this back in, and let's stick him here and move him back a little bit, because what is a Galvatron without his army? That's right, we've got both Cyclonus and Scourge here to put in, and I just think that trio looks awesome. I mean, there's no way you can deny that this Megatron, or Galvatron, is way better than the Universe one. Frankly, I would say that old Chrome Dome here makes a better Galvatron than the Universe one. But the point of the matter is, this trio looks awesome now, and this is something I'd love to display on a shelf. So let's take him aside, because every good villain needs its hero to fight against. So here is the US Rodimus, or Hot Rod, and here is the other US Hot Rod with the Fans Project Protector armor on. And you can see that they just match up pretty well in height, and I think that's a awesome looking you know, display piece there. So let's go ahead and get the Mania King into his cannon mode here. No tanks, we're not going to sugarcoat it. G1 cannon all the way. So we'll take this off and we're going to pull this apart, and we're just going to kind of set that aside for now. We're going to come down here and you know what? We might as well just, we'll start with what the instructions tell us to do. Rotate this all the way up, so this little like crotch flap is kind of, it's not going to push into anything, but you'll see it's kind of lining up with that hole in his chest. And raise these out of our way for now. Now what we're going to do is we'll open these leg panels on up and kind of make him so he's sitting here. Flip it to the side. Take his foot. Push in the heel spur first. Then rotate it so it's all the way in, and rotate it all the way around to the other side like this. And take these little things and just push them all the way to the top here. And we'll do that again for the other side here. Open it, push them to the top, heel spur, flip it all the way around, make them sit down, flip this to the side. Now what you're going to do, there is a little piece here, kind of grip this half circle and grip this, and you can see that that's going to split apart, which is going to allow us to flip it to the other side here. And you may have to mess around with his leg just a little to make it clear, this white piece here. But basically once we get it there, you're going to push this all back together, and you might have to rotate the top on in just a little bit to accommodate the spacing here for this piece. But once you're in there, you should see that that piece should be outside of this, and you should have kind of that half circle here. And we're going to do that again for the other side. So take this, grab it, flip it in half, or push it out I should say. Make sure his legs are straight when you close this on up, and we've now gotten past that hip armor. and kind of close everything here, and you should be able to make a complete circle like so, like that, with just this top piece. And then you're going to take this cannon piece and kind of take it and put it in between the legs here, and then just squeeze everything back closed again like that. So you kind of got a very awkward, almost looks like some of the more modern Megatrons, where it's some kind of weird ship where Megatron is still completely visible. Fortunately, we're not done here. So what we're going to do is take these and slide it all the way up. Just get this out of the way. Disconnect the arms like so. Now when we have this disconnected, this is going to allow us to flip this piece down, which should allow this whole black piece to kind of come out. So now what you're going to do, just take this while it's out here and extend this all the way like so. Whoops. Like that. And we can fine tune that after. We're going to take these and flip it so his elbow pads are, I think we need to do this like that. There we go. Flip it so his shoulder pads are out like this, and we might as well do the hands now. So you're going to separate these. The inner piece is going to come all the way down. You can see it's kind of recessed for that shoulder to fit, sort of. And then take these, rotate his fist down, and rotate the whole assembly down. And just kind of keep it like this. We'll do that again for the other side here. Flip this up, rotate this piece down, rotate the fist, like so, and then these should plug in together on this side to kind of give you that like sort of triangular shape. So now we're going to come to what I believe is the toughest part here. Rotate this piece out of the way here, and take this little piece up here, just kind of leave it like this. Take these flaps and open them all the way. And now you've got to get this piece here into this slot here. Now the first time I did this, it took a while. The more I transform this toy, the easier it seems to get. So just get it, it'll make a nice solid click. And we got that in position. So now we can kind of close these little flaps here to kind of hide the cannon better. And we'll come down to the back piece here. So now we still have his head to deal with, and you can see it kind of flipped up. So we're kind of looking like this now. So what you want to do is flip these all the way out and rotate these pieces all the way up. Like so. So they should kind of stick out just a little bit here. Like that. Now what you're going to do is take this, rotate this forward, and then make sure Megatron or Galvatron's head slides all the way into this piece here. And then you can kind of rotate this whole assembly down, so you're kind of hiding his head in the chest piece here. And then just kind of flip this all the way down, and it should lock into place on the back here. He sort of has visible head syndrome, but not as bad as some Megatrons out there. So you got this, kind of rotate your little tread things down like so. And then just kind of flatten this whole piece out. It's kind of like a rear stabilizer. And the last thing you need to do is take this one piece right here. And you'll see the two little angled pieces here. And you just kind of plug that in. And there we go. We've got Galvatron in his cannon mode. And that is a darn good representation. The only thing that'll make it better is once this barrel is orange. So yeah, that looks good. Now when you're in this mode, you can kind of angle things just a tiny bit because of the way they're made. You can flip it around if you want. if you prefer the treads forward. I just keep them like this. I think it looks fine like that. This back piece is the only thing that I think I would want to see some kind of improvement on, because the way he is weighted and stuff, he sits just fine. Normally, he doesn't seem to be wanting to sit fine for me right now. But it would be nice to get a little more of an upward angle on this. I suppose if you really want to, you can take this and kind of angle these back in like this, which will actually kind of get him to sit more angular like that, if you don't mind the lack of treads on the bottom. So that's up to you. You do have these options to do stuff. Just keep in mind that this is not necessarily as stable, because as you can see, I can't really turn him without these wanting to pop out. But it's something you can do nonetheless, and I mean, you can play with this any number of ways to kind of create an angled mode if you really want to. But the proper way, of course, is like this. So yeah, I don't really have anything good to size compare him in his cannon mode, because frankly there's just nothing really to do. I guess we can bring Cyclonus and Scourge back in and just kind of stand them next to him so you can get an idea. Rotate it this way. There you go. So this is T2RX6. I highly recommend the Unique Toys Mania King, and I am super excited to get their blaster, even if his chest doesn't accommodate regular size tapes. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.